How we doing? I am your host, Robert T. Gardner Jr., also known as Dr. Rob. Welcome to Station BOB, and let me tell you a little about thee. I am a kid from a Harlem hood who turned out good. I got educated like I should. Now I know how to help you grow to become the best of your being in life, love, and work. With that said, I am here to provide you with some clarity associated with the perplexity of the challenges in your life, love, and work. So, without further ado, let's get down on it. Enjoy the show. Yes. How we doing? Welcome once again, my friend, to Station BOB, where you listen to learn how to become the best of your being in life, love, and work. And of course, I am your host, Dr. Rob. What is going on? Seems like we have no winter. I mean, we had a couple of trinkets of snow, but it seems like we could be rolling right along into the spring of 2024. And so today, I'm back with another podcast, and of course, what I believe is another interesting topic. So without further ado, let me get down on it. So I'm going to talk about the podcast topic today might be a funny question to you, but and you may be having this experience already with your parents. Today's topic is, at what age do you not have to listen to your parents when they tell you what to do? I mean, are you that type that your mother or your father will always be able to boss you around, tell you what to do? Is that you? I mean, if that's you, that's cool. I don't know your family, scenario there. I'm not mad at you. I'm just wondering, at what age do we not have to listen to what our parents tell us to do? And that includes your grandmother, a.k.a. Big Mama, in the black family community, that's even in jest, we refer to our grandmothers as Big Mama. So somewhere along the line there's a Big Mama. You feel me? So this may come to you as a weird question or weird podcast topic. And I have some more weird podcast topics coming up. Oh, man, I can't wait to get to those in the days and weeks to come. But this is a real thing. And I know firsthand from my own experience and the experiences of other family members. In addition, you might say, is this worthy even of discussion? And to that, I would say, yes, it is more than worthy, because what I have found is that if you do not have this in mind and you live long enough to be independent from your parents, which I guess most of you are, then at this point you may find yourself in this situation, as I have been, with not only my father, but also my wonderful aunt who raised me after my mother died. I lived with both my father and my aunt separately, but my father briefly, but my aunt for an extended period of time, as I started out with her as a child. And I guess from their era, which, starts in the, growing up and I guess in the 40s and the 50s, they were young people. And so they're from the same generation. I think you're once a child born into our family, my family, you're probably always considered to be beholden to them, or a support or a subordinate who should do what they say and how they say to do it. And this for me makes absolutely no sense at all, especially since I have made so many good decisions for my own life as an adult without any consult or guidance from either one of them, meaning, my father or my lovely aunt. I mean, I may have checked in with them, or not at the same time, but what I'm saying, at some point, on one thing or another. I mean, that's how life is. You always seek to know what somebody else is thinking, what somebody else's opinion. But nevertheless, I have made some great decisions in my life, for my life, without their feedback or financial support. And, financial support, when you rely on your parents to pull you out of tough ditches and things of that sort, they do believe that they have they may tend to believe, I'll say, I don't want to say that about every parent, but they may tend to believe that they have an unfettered right to tell you what to do if you rely on them. I mean, even at, once or twice. So, quite often, if I did discuss my life circumstances with either my father or my aunt, in many of those instances, or most of them, I was not necessarily even looking for guidance or directions. Sometimes, like I said earlier, I like to run my ideas by people just to get their take on what I have already pretty much decided that I was going to do. And so, I really, especially when I was younger, picture that. I've always had the knack for making good decisions, no matter what challenging situation or easygoing situation. Other than the choice I made to marry my first wife, I mean, I'm not trying to go there, but that probably was the number one worst decision of my life. But it turned out good because it led to other things which I'm doing right now. So, that was a bad choice. But it really inspired me to do some things. So I don't know what to make of that. But let me just talk to you about challenging situations that I've made for my, had to make in my own life. I'll tell you a little story. And I did this without seeking the advice of either my father or my aunt. Years ago when the first apartment I got, me and a young lady that I was dating at that time, we decided to move in together. And so it turns out that relationship was not a good one for the both of us. And she moved out. I kept the apartment. Then her and I would argue about different things because she would call me. Meanwhile, she didn't want to be together anymore, but she's out the house and she's calling me now. Okay? So we would get into, little minor arguments about things that, I was doing at my apartment after she moved out. Then one night we got into an argument about something I did with the census for that particular year. And it got so bad, this little argument about, I may have discarded the census. I was young at that time. I didn't really give it too much credence. So, bad move on my part. But at any rate, she got upset with me and I started feeling like, I need to, maybe I need to, protect myself here at, my crib because she had keys. And it, even though we broke up, I still allowed her to have some keys, just trying to, do it in the easy does it, mode. But it got so bad that, arguing about the mail, that I started to feel like she might come to the apartment and destroy some things, as she was a very vindictive type of person. And, like I said, my concern was even, magnified by the idea because she did have keys. So now, with the bickering, I felt somewhat compromised that she might come to the crib and carry out some nefarious act while I was at work. So, I started thinking about changing the lock to the front door. And for some reason, as a young person, I felt bad about changing the lock. I had some real feelings about that. And, when I think about it, that was one of the first major decisions that I had to make for my life. And I did not consult with my aunt nor my father, as I was preoccupied with how to handle this possible sneak attack from the vindictive ex-girlfriend. You feel me? And so, I thought it would not be a good thing to change the lock and not tell her. What was I thinking? But I really felt bad about doing that. But again, I sought no consult from my family members. And so then I stopped feeling my emotions about her in terms of how bad she might think it was for me to change the lock, because I was stuck on that. And I started thinking about what was best for me and my stress level. So that, so I don't stress out being concerned. How am I going to go to work worried about what this girl might do? You feel me? So over the weekend, because I was sensing that, it was the end of one week going into the next week when the dispute started really intensifying, if you will, over the phone. So I decided to change the lock. And don't you know, I changed the lock on a Saturday. I had trouble arriving at the decision, but I felt so good after I made that, what I thought at that time to be a tough decision. And so I changed the lock on Saturday, and I stayed home from work that Monday, just to pack up some of her stuff that she left behind. Because you know how the honeys do it, the females. Even they break up with you and they still leave things at the crib. Okay? So what I did was I said, let me pack up her stuff. And, just in case, or eventually, I need to, she needs to get her stuff out of here. That's just where I was. But now I'm thinking she might, do a drive-by, so to speak. I said, let me pack up her stuff. And don't you know that Monday that I took off from work, I'm cooking, I'm getting ready to make my favorite dish at the time, some Bob's Crispy Fried chicken wings and probably a salad and a baked potato, but I was into what I was doing. So while I'm, prepping my meal, I'm hearing something or somebody tampering with the lock at the front door of the crib. Lo and behold, it was her trying to insert her key to open the door. But, B-U-T, the lock was changed. And she could not get in. Long story short, I let her in. We started talking. Then she started walking around the house, throwing things in the garbage and just misbehaving. So, eventually, I was able to get a hold of her, and I had to physically put her out. It wasn't, fight. I just, between the voice inflections and moving her in that direction, I had her stuff packed, and I was able to get her and the rest of her belongings out of the crib. Now, what a decision. What a decision. And I did not seek any advice from people, my father, my aunt, who still to this day would boss me or try to boss me around every opportunity they get. Nevertheless, I was really proud of myself for anticipating, the invasion from the ex-girlfriend. And yet, despite all of my experiences with making good decisions without any guidance from the elders of my family, both my aunt and my father frequently feel the need to tell me what to do. So let me know where you are with that. I'm going to step aside and let a promo in, and we'll pick up this discussion on the other side of the break.
Have you read any good books lately? Your host, Robert T. Gardner Jr., also known as Dr. Rob, is the author of 3 great books. In his first book, The Choices We Make, Robert takes a look at relationships to help readers learn how to have a good relationship with themselves before they can have good relationships with others. In his second book, Access Denied, Robert brings an eye-opening perspective about what happens to children and fathers when their relationships with the mothers of their children end on bad terms. Robert explores what he calls child porn, when a parent, usually the mother, uses a child as a weapon to hurt the other parent. Robert provides a let-go lab in his book to help parents find positive ways to resolve their issues in the best interest of their children. Light Up Your Life is Robert's latest book. Robert writes about the fact that we are all born with a special God-given talent. Even though we are all born with a special talent, most of us miss our true calling. In this book, you will learn how to find your special talent and light up your life so that you can become the person you were born to be and live a more fulfilled, purpose-driven life. Books are available at barnesandnobles.com, amazon.com, and Robert's website, relationshipreadiness.org. Thank you. And back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Hey, y'all need to get on those books that you just learned about in that promo. We talking life-changing books right there. Light Up Your Life, The Choices We Make, and Access Denied, authored by yours truly, the one, the only, Robert T. Gardner Jr. And so, we keep it moving. Before we jump back into the topic, I started this new segment where I want to share a corny dad joke. I think that laughter is good, and I like to inject some laughter into the discussion. And, it's so funny, I'm using corny dad jokes, but I have never been corny when I tell my own jokes, okay? But now I'm finding jokes to tell. That's probably why they're corny. But me as a comedian, I've always been that funny guy, But now I've resorted to corny dad jokes. Let me know if this is laughable or not, okay? Here we go with the corny dad joke. How do you make a tissue dance? Huh? You put a little boogie in it. Now that was good. You make a tissue dance. You put a little boogie in it. That you can't tell me that was good. Let me know what you think. All right. Settle down. That's what I thought. So let me jump back into the topic here. When do you not have to listen to your parents anymore? Okay? So, as I was saying, I made this crucial decision early in life, okay? And I did not seek any consult from any of my elders in my family, but still, they like to boss me around. And not only do they like to tell me, and not only me, but it's my brother, as well. But not only do they like to tell me and him what to do, but they get mad that it's like if we don't, do what they say or agree to do what they say, like what is that all about? It's one thing to tell another grown person what to do, but it is totally another ball of wax to get mad if they do not do the things or, you want or do them the way you said to do them. Especially when that person lives totally independent from you. I mean, are you feeling me? Are you feeling me with this? And because they do that, this often, has led to disputes between us, as I had to constantly fight for the right not to be controlled by my elders, for God's sake. Now, if I am you, what I would take away from this discussion is that when people call you, I just want you to hear me on this, because it happens to all of us. When people call you to discuss their personal issues or their problems, they are not always looking for help, so to speak. And as human beings and humanitarians and loving people, we're always quick to help. I got the answer to your problem. This is what I do on this podcast. I have the answers to your situation, but you're not calling me. I'm calling you to share. So, because what I'm really trying to say is that when people call you to discuss their, hot topics, if you will, they are not always looking for help unless, they specifically ask for your help. Sometimes people are just calling to vent or share with you, what their experiences in a pressing situation that may be on their mind, at that time. So instead of trying to solve your loved one's issues, it might just be a time for you to listen and hear them out. And you might learn that they have already resolved the issue that they're discussing with you. They might just be wanting to run it by you just to see if they did the right thing, or just, somebody else's thoughts about what they or how they handle the scenario. So my point again is, when you try to tell another adult what to do, whether they are your child or not, and they live independent from you, be aware that this may cause some tension between the two of you. And this may preclude you from coming, from that person coming to you in the future, when they may in fact be looking for help or assistance at that time. And so, for the record, I just want to say, I have a 24-year-old daughter, and she lives independent from me. Now, I do not tell her what to do, because, see, for me, this relieves a lot of stress that I would feel, the same stress that I felt and feel both from my aunt and my father before he passed away, and my pushback from them telling me what to do. Now, if my daughter seeks my advice, then I'm all ears and willing to help. If not, I feel for her in so many situations that I know that she's involved with. All good. But I still mind my business to reduce my own stress in my life from telling her what to do. After all, she did not listen to me when she was 14. Now she is 24, living independently. And I do not expect that will change now. She did what I told her to do around the house, but when it came to things that she really needs to understand regarding her behavior outside of the house, it was always a struggle with her. Starting from the age of 14 and beyond. And so at some point in time, you have to realize as a parent that you are not the boss of your child who is an adult. And so that brings me back to the point of this podcast topic. At what age do you not have to listen to your parents? Well, if you ask me, I don't even know. You decide what is best for you and your parents. On that note, I will leave it right here. Thank you so much for listening to me, rolling with me, just spending this time with me. Thank you so much. And hopefully you have a better understanding of how to negotiate the sensitive relationship between you and the elder family members in your respective family, meaning your parents or your aunts or uncles who were the authority figures in your life. And so, they love us, but sometimes they may be trying just a little too hard to love us. Some of that love we got to feel for ourselves. So until we meet again, stay up, my friend. And remember, life is good even when it ain't. And love is not supposed to hurt. Peace. As we wrap up this show, I hope this topic helped you to grow. And now you know a little bit more than you knew before. If you have any questions about this topic, please email me at changeagentrtg@gmail.com. See my website, relationshipreadiness.org, to learn more about my counseling, consulting, and educational programs related to life, love, and work. Finally, in the words of the late, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he is traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. Until we meet again, do the right thing when nobody is looking. Peace, beloved.